The Brewhouse was created to capture and share with you the long history of the Genesee Brewery, but the brewery itself isn't half as interesting as the beer and the people who make it. Visit GeneseeBrewhouse.com. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We are the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Kevin Oklobzija is back. Good to see you, Kev.
Must be a holiday week or something. Nobody else is available.
Well, I thought that sweater meant it was a holiday week. What are you doing, Clark Griswold?
Wait till the Christmas trees come on the next one.
Oh, we'll have to have him back for Christmas.
Obviously.
What are you wearing today, Pat?
RAT hockey gamer, Brad Reed. I believe he graduated 16. I could be wrong. But one of the few RAT Tigers that did not play professional hockey at all when he was all done. Just went and did his own thing.
Those are sharp.
I love these sweaters. They're great.
We thought that the whole minor league thing, the 42 teams, I've seen 5 is counting. I've seen 5 of these 42 teams play in their home fields. 42 minor league teams, they're trying to dissolve them. And Bernie Sanders has kept the issue alive, presidential candidate of the Democratic side, by saying, please reconsider. Not that that holds a lot of weight and stuff, but where do you stand in terms of like losing these teams?
In a lot of ways, it does make sense. Why would any organization need 7 minor league teams? Some don't. Some have 5. Some have 7. There's a couple that might even have 8. I mean, they got 2 low A. They got why?
Yeah.
But for the communities that Auburn, I think Auburn's a really nice fit for that team. They've really revamped the stadium. They have a decent crowd. They have some things going on there that make it a fun place to come. Not that Batavia doesn't, but and they had a good year last year, but Batavia's attendance hasn't been what it was. But Auburn's a very good fit for that league. And to take the team away, I really do think the Congress holds the biggest stick. And to say, well, you want to do this, that's fine, but maybe we'll just get rid of that antitrust exemption that you enjoy that no other sport has.
There used to be more minor league teams than there are now. I mean, we can run down a list of teams in upstate New York that had teams that don't anymore, and this just feels different, though.
Well, here's the thing. Listen, I know you like to travel, watch minor league baseball. When I did stand-up comedy for a living, when I had days off, I would go to these AA ballparks in these tiny little towns.
I'm sure there was a joke coming there.
Well, no, there was no joke. The joke is this. The idea of it is romantic, right? And like Auburn, I think, is the exception to a lot of these towns that we're talking about here, because you think what it's going to be, this tiny little stadium with popcorn smell all over the place and 1,000 fans ready to watch their boys. But the reality is, you get to some of these stadiums and there's 20, 30, 40 people in the stands, and that's on back-to-back days. Like, as much as you want to see American pastime baseball being played in these small towns, I don't know how sustainable it is anymore, and I understand where Major League Baseball is coming from.
They want to make the point that, that Major League Baseball needs this grassroots support because eventually these people are paying tickets to go see
and that's
the Red
true.
Sox.
They're buying merchandise and they're buying jerseys of people who played there or the team, the parent team, whatever it might be. But from a financial standpoint, do you really, again, why would you need that many teams to decide? You're filling out a roster with how many guys on that Class A team in Batavia or the rookie league teams?
And 17
do you know
of them are
will
pitchers.
Never play?
17 are pitchers. They don't even get into games.
They're just hoping, though. All right, this guy throws 98. We'll get him to 102, and maybe he'll throw strikes.
But let's use Batavia as an example, right? Listen, the Batavia Muck Dogs are great. I love going to that stadium out there. It's always fun. But like, you have a ball club there that is 30 miles away from a Buffalo Bisons game or a Rochester Red Wings game. You're 2.5 hours away from a Toronto Blue Jays game. You're 3.5 hours away from a Cleveland Indians game. I mean, that's not a necessary, and I'm not talking about heart of the city, I'm talking about a necessary place to have a minor league baseball team. It makes sense.
And facilities are part of the issue. Major League Baseball wants their players in quality stadiums, and Batavia made some upgrades. This is how bad it was 2 years ago. The pitching rubber did not align with the plate.
Well, that way I hook left, so that would actually be better for me.
For some, it probably worked. But for other pitchers, they had to be thinking, I don't get it. I cannot throw strikes at home. But on the road, that curveball drops in every time.
This won't change, right? There is no turning back on this. These 42 teams are doomed.
No, right? I think it will change. I mean, honestly, if Congress says we're taking away the antitrust exemption, baseball's backing off in a hurry, or we'll certainly sit down and negotiate.
You also have the potential that something else shows up to replace those small towns. There's nothing that says these independent leagues can't come and gobble up ground. And, there's been this argument about independent versus Major League Baseball sanctioned minor league baseball. Maybe this is where independent leagues finally get their solid foothold in the game and survive places.
And baseball's trying to grab a couple independents, like the St. Paul Saints. They want them to become an affiliated team. I mean, it does make sense. And Batavia they've been losing the Muck Dogs forever as long as they could find a buyer. So what this really does to the Red Wings, if the Muck Dogs are sold, like the Red Wings think they have $2 million in the bank, maybe 2.5, maybe 3, because they get half the franchise is theirs through that agreement of running the team for 10 years. Well, if the team is dissolved, while there's supposedly a little bit of money coming for the team for going away, it's not going to be what they think they're getting from a sale. So it's a big blow to the Red Wings, what they think they have in the bank.
We have the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brewhouse talking Buffalo Bills next. The Press Box is brought to you in part by Bay & Goodman Pizza, a local Rochester favorite. Corner of North Winton and Browncroft, Bay & Goodman Pizza. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. This is the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. So, the Buffalo Bills in the stretch run. They played Dallas. We don't know the result of that, and this is airing afterwards, so we kind of set that aside. But 4 games left. Who would have thought? I do think largely this has been such a positive experience, this football team.
Yeah, I agree with you. Listen, I'll admit I had no semblance of this happening. I thought they'd take a step forward. I didn't think they'd take this step forward. By the way, I could be saying this as the Bills got blown out 63-3 on Thursday. We have no idea.
But that doesn't really change things.
No, you're right. I mean, that game on Thursday, it is what it is. No matter what happens, you're sitting okay. The problem is next season, right? Like the Bills have taken advantage of this schedule that has been, you want to call it soft, and I'm fine with it, right? You play who you play.
Soft.
But it is what it is. Like you can only beat who they put in front of you. Next season, that changes. Seattle, Los Angeles, Kansas City, teams like that are coming to Buffalo. You have time to take that next step forward. And the way that Josh Allen has been playing in the last couple of weeks, he's taking those major steps forward. But we're going to find out when it comes to free agents, drafting, and what your quarterback looks like if this team is a legitimate NFL contender come opening day next season.
To Pat's point, enjoy it while it lasts, right?
Hold on. So what I'm saying, you're making it sound dim and grim. I think they could be a good team. You just got to make sure that step is forward.
Yeah, but you could still take a step forward and wind up 8-8 next year.
Sure. Yeah, okay, you're right.
Which, I think that's one of the reasons, like every year, how many playoff teams don't make it from the year before?
Oh, yeah.
6 of the 12 or whatever it is. But, that's one reason the Bills might be one of those, just because of what the schedule they have this year and what they'll have next year. They still might be as good or still may be progressing, but the level of opponent. Did they make the playoffs?
I think they make the playoffs.
I do too. They can't beat Baltimore.
Okay.
That's the best team in the league.
Well, okay, they're going to be playing Baltimore in the week coming up. You've got 13 days, 12 days to prepare for that team.
So they only lose by 20.
Okay, look.
You're seeing the Ravens at the very best.
Correct. But they should beat Pittsburgh. I don't think Pittsburgh's very good at all. They don't have a quarterback. That's the win that probably puts him in, right?
You've covered, the win that's going to put him in is going to be the win you're going to have to get against the Jets. The way that things are coming up on the back end, you could need 10 wins to do it, and that final game of the season could mean everything to you. But Kevin, you've covered sports long enough. You guys have covered sports long enough to know that every game happens in a bubble. Just because Lamar Jackson goes out and wins 40-something to 6 the other night doesn't mean that he can't come into Orchard Park against a really good defense and have a tough day. Sean McDermott, if he's good at one particular thing, it's taking somebody out of a game.
So he has a tough day. How are the Bills going to get past the Ravens defense?
Okay, look, it's
Josh Allen could have the greatest day of his life, and he's still not going to do anything against that defense.
Okay,
I don't believe.
But every week is really.
It is.
Every week is independent.
New Orleans were supposed to be this machine, and they got spanked by Atlanta. Then they come out and they don't play well against Carolina either. So yes, that does happen. But it would appear the Ravens might be.
I think they're legit. I'm not going to write the Bills off. It is what it is.
No, they've had a tremendous year.
Game.
Everybody was 8-8. Their predictions for the most part on the Bills. You could look at games and go, well, they got a chance to win that one. However, it goes 50-50.
So we led last week talking about the sustainability of the whole Ravens thing. Do you see that as is he revolutionizing the game, Lamar Jackson?
the same way Mahomes did, the same way every other quarterback did that did something different. But he's good. I mean, it's fun to watch right now. And then defenses will figure it. Somebody will figure out a way to, to stop it.
Well, see, I don't know if that's the case. I think it might be something different. I've been thinking about that discussion all week. Is he revolutionizing the way that football is played? And I don't think he is, simply because I don't know if there is another Lamar Jackson coming. He's a very unique athlete, whereas Mike Vick was a quarterback that was athletic. Lamar Jackson is an athlete that is a phenomenal quarterback. I mean, he's equally good parts, both things. He's accurate and he runs a 4.4 40-yard dash. He's agile and he's smart enough to make the play that a guy who's going to stand in the pocket and throw is. To say he's revolutionary implies that there will be someone behind him that can do the same thing. And what we're seeing right now, we've never seen anything like it. And I think it would be foolish to assume there will be someone like him down the road.
Maybe not to that extent, but it also to that is like, if that really is changing the way that we think of the way the NFL gets played, Buffalo's in a nice spot because they get a guy who can do some of the things that he does.
Agreed, but going back to what we talked about last week.
Some of the things.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Well, just to a lesser extent, but he's...
Well, let's keep him in the pocket and see what he could do.
What do you mean? He's been in the pocket. He's been playing great the last 2 weeks. Well, I mean, he's made plays when he's had to make plays, but you don't see Josh
Let's not
Allen.
say great. He's played. He's stepped up.
He has 2 touchdowns every week for the last 7 weeks. He's doing what they're asking him to do. And I firmly believe if there was a game where the Bills needed to, looked at him and said, go get me 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, the kid could do it. When he has the ball in his hands and the Bills are down, I believe.
Well, one of the problems is keeping it in his hands.
Okay, fine.
This is the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Like it or not, is next. Here's the Press Box trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Here's the Press Box trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Like it or not, which is more like which is worse, Dwayne Haskins taking selfies of himself while his team was on the field kneeling down for the last play of the game, or the Philadelphia Eagles celebrating an interception with one of these group things 14 points down.
The Haskins thing is adorable. Your team isn't going anywhere. It's your first NFL win. You're having a blast.
And at least you're selling the game to
yes,
fans.
Bingo, exactly. The Eagles are a legitimate, or were supposed to be, contending team. They still might be, depending on what happens with Dallas down the stretch. You won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. You're celebrating down 14 points with everybody. Like, it's not even one person going, oops, I made a mistake. I got caught up in the moment. Not everybody gets caught up in the moment. I love celebrations. What the hell are you doing? What is wrong with you?
Is this a generational thing?
Shouldn't somebody have just run by there or walked by and said, scoreboard?
Well, I'm just thinking, it's like I saw like PTI, and both those guys absolutely hated what Haskins did.
I liked it.
Why? Yeah.
I liked it. I mean, see, yes, he has to go kneel down. I'm sure that, they scolded him in the, in private afterward in the dressing room, whatever. But I kind of liked it. So what? He wasn't there for the kneel down.
Make him relatable, and that's the most If I won an NFL game, the first thing I'm doing is running over to everybody. Guys, this is great. Look at everybody. I'm having fun. I love Dwayne Haskins now.
All right, cool. Like it or not, the Buffalo Sabres, as we now see them, versus
I don't like
the
them.
Sabres that...
I don't like them. I liked them before. I don't like them now. It's amazing. It is so... There are so many parallels to last year right now that... I don't... Injuries are a big thing. I think Johansson's a big part of the team. There's parts that are missing. There's 4 guys up from Rochester right now in the lineup. I don't think they're that far off, but again, there is just something missing.
Last year they never recovered. I mean, will they rally a little bit this year?
I do think they're better. Again, I think they're better, and I think they will. But the game in Tampa, I mean, they have a chance, and I'm trying to think of who missed the net by... I mean, Olofsson hit...
It's always Middlestat who misses the net by 3 feet.
Olofsson hits the post. Middlestat missed the net. I mean, their power play it's there. I mean, they're getting chance. I don't think they're that far off, but I think part of it is really their psyche right now and the fact they went through it last year and they haven't won ever, anyone there. And it's just kind of that, oh, yeah, well, okay. We got next year, though. I mean, I really think somewhere in their, the back of their heads, that's there because they don't know how to win.
This is the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Unfinished Business is next. And now here's this week's MVP Experience Stat of the Week, brought to you by Sport Clips, where it's good to be a guy. No appointment ever needed.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
I know you're not supposed to look straight at it, but...
Man, it looks delicious.
Get ready for a whole new way to start the day. Introducing the great-tasting, plant-based Beyond Sausage Sandwich. Only at Dunkin'.
And I've come to one conclusion that's rock solid. God hates us. It's the only way it can be. Look, the Bills have done everything they could every which way, right? They've gotten quarterbacks every possible way you can. Big free agents, or bring in big names like Drew Bledsoe or Rob Johnson, right? Drafting guys in the first round like J.P. Lossman or E.J. Manuel. Going and finding diamonds in the rough like your Trent Edwards or your Tyrod Taylors. And somehow every single time, it blows up in their face. They had an owner that wanted to be thrifty and go on blue-collar work ethic, and that didn't work. And then here come these new owners that want to throw money around and go out and get the best head coach that was available at the time, and that didn't work. The only explanation is that God hates us. That's all I'm taking from now on, because there's nothing else they can do that they haven't tried before that would work. So I'm going to sit, and I'm going to keep watching this team do what it does until I go to heaven and get to confront God as to why he has done this to all of us for so many years.
Or they're just wrong in thinking Rex was the best coach available.
It's God.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. This is the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Unfinished Business, presented by Dunkin'. America runs on Dunkin'. Pat.
Kevin was just talking about the Buffalo Sabres and how things have not gotten great for them. And fans of the Sabres want blue-collar toughness. Give me a guy that's going to go out there and be a little rough. Like, for example, last week, Captain Jack Eichel, frustrated, down 3-0, goes and gets in a fight. And everyone's like, yeah, that was great, Jack. Way to go, buddy. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen, ever. The only offense you have right now, in fact, the only life you really have out of your team, is your captain, Jack Eichel. What happens if Jack Eichel gets in that fight and breaks his hand on somebody's face and misses 6 weeks, or gets his jaw broken and misses 12 weeks? What do you do then? Then you have Sam Reinhart leading your top line with Victor Olofsson and maybe an Evan Rodriguez, because you got to keep skin around too. My point is this. I know we all love old-time hockey and being tough and gritty, but it's gone now. And if there's one guy that shouldn't be throwing punches on this team, it's your leading point getter, leading goal scorer, captain, future of your franchise. Don't applaud that. It's not good. And if you thought it was good, I don't think you understand hockey anymore.
I can't wait till Monday. You know why? Because the NFL is going to come out and say, yeah, that wasn't a penalty. We're sorry. 2 tripping calls in the Dallas-New England game. I guess there were 7 all year. 2 in one game. Oh, but they weren't because we saw it wrong. Sorry. It's time for replay on everything. I like the fact replay gets things right. I don't like it that it delays the game, but so many calls are wrong. Something's got to be done. And you're not going to make the officials better because the game is quicker. You miss things. Guys are bigger. They're blocked. Whatever it might be. They don't see things. Pass interference that is or isn't. You can review that. What about that bash to the head of the quarterback that, really didn't happen. His arm didn't even hit him. It was the other guy's elbow from the offensive tackle. Whatever it may be. Let's just review it all because I'm tired of the NFL coming out and apologizing on Monday.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they benefit at all by doing that either. So how'd the Buffalo Bills do in Dallas? Is it because we tape ahead of time here and we don't really know? I do know that the Buffalo Bills fans are looking at this as an opportunity for the national sports audience to get a look at our football team and how good it is and some of these players that people don't know. I am reasonably sure that didn't happen, because this is all about Dallas. It's a referendum on the Cowboys because the entire NFL circulates around what the Dallas Cowboys are doing. Are they contenders? Is the coach going to last? All the rest of those things. The last time that anybody cared about Western New York was during the World's Fair. And that was in 1901 when Buffalo hosted the World's Fair, and it got spoiled because William McKinley got assassinated. So soon-to-be President Theodore Roosevelt was rushed from the Adirondacks into Buffalo, sworn in, and then rushed out of Buffalo. And ever since then, Western New York has been pretty much forgotten, which is kind of too bad because we do have some things to offer. The Buffalo Bills aren't one of those in a national sense, and that's okay. Because remember, the last time people cared, someone got killed. Unfinished Business, presented by Dunkin'. America runs on Dunkin'. Kevin, nice to have you back again.
It's been great to be here.
You know, I hope Monday isn't as miserable as you seem to think it's going to be.
Well, I just can't wait to see which game had the blown call. You don't agree?
Because it will be someone.
I did not expect an assassinated president to show up in the press box this week. Oh my God, Bill.
Well, that's why I'm here. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week for the Rochester Press Box.